Boys, let's start. Let me know about the volume, okay, guys?
It's been just over 2 years since I made that big overview video for Ashes of Creation. 2.6 million views, the hype train's still rolling, and 2 years worth of development updates later, I decided to make an updated version of that video. So grab a cup of tea, sit back and relax whilst I explain to you why Ashes of Creation is still, by far, the most exciting upcoming MMORPG. This video has no sponsor and took a solid 40 hours of writing, recording and editing. So if you'd like to support my work and plan on playing Ashes
40 hours
releases, then click my referral link in the description below.
Okay, one of the things that I've always had, let me remove this death counter. I'm gonna tell you guys one of the things that I really, I don't know how I feel. Ooh, can I remove the death counter? One of the things that I do not like about, I don't want to say I don't like, but I'm a little bit concerned about Ashes of Creation is this referral code stuff here. If I'm not mistaken, the way that's gonna work is when people subscribe into the game and use your code, the creator that provided the code will receive like $15 or something like that, right? Which in itself, that is not a bad thing. But what that's going to do is like all these massive creators are going to rack up hundreds of thousands of dollars with this creator code, right? And it sort of feel like a pyramid schemey type of thing, you know? Like, what is that money really going to do for the game? I don't know. I really hope that it doesn't create like a toxic community or some sort of weird ass paywall for people when they want to just enjoy the game, right? Like, I feel like I'm really concerned about it, but I genuinely want to give Ashes of Creation a good chance, and I hope that it doesn't affect, like the game itself, having this creator code stuff in there or this referral link in it. It's not the first game to do it. It's not the only game that's ever gonna do it, and who knows, but I just feel like I don't really like I guess I don't know how to say it, but I don't like to have this referral code as part of the game. But hey.
Or use my code to create an account.
All right, what is Ashes of Creation? Here we go.
Is the biggest upcoming Western MMORPG in terms of scope, hoping to provide fans of PvP, PvE, and roleplay content an ever-changing virtual world in which the progression of each server is completely different and dependent on the actions of the player base.
Which is really cool. Like that idea is a really, really cool idea, a little bit ambitious. But I think if they can pull it off, it will be awesome, because not every server is going to be the same. Every player economy is going to be different. And then we go back to the referral code point I was making earlier. Most of those servers with like streamers and stuff like that, they're going to be way ahead of other servers, which could in turn make it towards where there's like a toxic community intra-game, right?
Ashes started development back in 2016 in Unreal Engine 4, however at the end of 2021 upgraded its engine to Unreal 5 to make use of the latest advancements in gaming tech such as Nanite, Lumen, and a more efficient development pipeline. In terms of funding, the game was successfully kickstarted in 2017, however the vast majority of the game's funding comes from creative director Stephen Sharif.
There you go.
A successful entrepreneur who, like most of us, has been a lifelong MMO fan that was unhappy with the current state of the MMO genre.
And it's kind of like full circle, because I believe that's the same reason why World of Warcraft and Blizzard was created, right? I believe that they were all like unhappy with like EverQuest and stuff like that, and they all banded together, make their own game, and it turned out to be like a massive giant game in that day and age, right? So I mean, who knows? Hopefully history repeats itself, and Ashes of Creation is gonna be one of those new pillars.
Ashes of Creation is fully funded to completion, and despite offering paid access to alpha and beta tests, is not reliant on these funds to finish development. This game will have zero pay to win, a cosmetic-only cash shop with no convenience items, and a $15 per month subscription fee business model with no box cost. MMOs can usually be put into 3 categories: sandbox, theme park, or sand park. An example of a theme park MMO would be Final Fantasy XIV 2014, or WoW, an on-rails story-driven experience with a lot of scripted instanced content, heavily reliant on developers constantly adding new raids, dungeons, and gear treadmill content to keep people playing. An example of a sandbox
typical
MMO
formula
would be EVE Online, a game that's almost entirely player-driven. You need to create your own goals and find your place within a player-driven ecosystem, typically joining alliances or guilds to take over land and control resources. These games are less reliant on developer-created content, as the interaction between players is the content, and it's different every time. A sand park MMO is basically a hybrid of theme park and sandbox. There's a lot of player-driven content, however there's also developer-created scripted encounters such as raids and dungeons. This is the category of MMO that Ashes of Creation falls into, and personally it's my favourite type of MMORPG.
So they don't just throw you in the world, right? They will have a quest line and a story to follow, which is mostly what I enjoy when I'm playing like any types of games.
So what makes Ashes of Creation unique? How does this game innovate to push the genre forward?
This game looks great.
And why should you be excited for this MMO over all the others that have released and failed over the past 15 years?
The node system. This is one of those systems that is really, really cool.
In my opinion, is its node system, and it's this system that ensures that no two servers will ever be the same. Basically, when the game launches, the world will be empty. However, over time, camps, villages, towns, cities, and sprawling metropolises will pop up in locations where players earn XP from killing mobs, gathering, or doing quests. There'll be over 100 nodes.
What? Look at this map. There's a node every zone. There's a node
scattered throughout the world at launch, and each node will have a different layout and appearance depending on the race that contributed the most XP to it, as well as the buildings the mayor decides to place. So if, for example, orc players contributed the most XP to a node, the node will then have an orcish aesthetic. The same is true for every other race in the game, and these racial aesthetic changes are applied to the node every time it's leveled up. So a town could start with an elven aesthetic, but if dwarves contributed the most XP to progress it to the city stage, it would then change to a dwarven theme. So
I wonder how that's gonna play out when you're doing like when you have multiple races contributing like the same amount, right? Let's say that for some reason, let's say that you have two races that contribute like 50%, right? I wonder if they're gonna take into account the previous iteration of the town or just like the current stage, which is kind of an interesting system, because I wonder if you'll have like a section of the town become dwarvish and then the other section become elvish, right? Or something like that. Like some buildings look more elvish like because of the structures. Really, really interesting.
What happens when every node in the game is leveled to max? Well, that can't happen. Building up one node to a city, for example, will lock out adjacent nodes from reaching the same level, which in turn also locks or unlocks various quests, dungeons, or bosses. Players will have to initiate node sieges to de-level a node if they wish to progress adjacent nodes. Nodes come in 4 different node types: militaristic, scientific, divine, or economic, each of which have their own special perks, adding further variety into this system. Like I said, the node system is designed so that no two servers will be the same. If you take a break from the game for a few months, you could come back and the location of all major cities is completely different.
That dragon got fucked.
Taxes, buildings, different mayors voted to be in charge of the node, and different node racial aesthetics. No other MMORPG has ever done this before, and we've already seen this system working up to the village.
Can you imagine like you're walking around the town and all of a sudden a building starts popping up next to you? I think that would be pretty cool. I wonder what kind of sounds it would make, you know, like what kind of building sounds you will hear. If the sounds, if Ashes of Creation needs to get something right, it's the sound, right? Like look at New World, the sound in New World for everything that you do, like gathering or like fishing or whatever it is, it sounds so good. So I'm imagining like this game has to do something similar, right?
Stage in last year's Alpha 1 test.
Node politics. Okay.
On top of the node system also lies the node political system, where players compete to become the node's mayor. The process
Do I need to move
of
my
how this is
camera?
done varies depending on the node type. Scientific node mayors are voted for democratically. Militaristic node mayors are chosen by victory
Well, I guess
in a
not.
last
He's
man
no longer
standing
there.
tournament. Economic node leadership is sold to the highest bidder, and divine node governance is given to the player that completed the most node quests. Once a mayor has been decided, they can set the tax rate and decide which building projects to pursue. The only way to remove a mayor is by destroying the node via the node siege mechanic. Bad mayors will exist, yes, they will cause drama, and this is all by design, as any virtual world has good guys and bad guys. Some nodes will naturally die out and de-level due to an inactive mayor, others will need to be taken out by force, some mayors might tax their citizens so hard that everyone leaves and there's no money for upkeep. This is all intended with the design principle
let me
of
move my camera.
actions having consequences.
I'm gonna move my camera just in case he pops again.
The final thing worth mentioning about nodes is the citizenship
Just put it
and
up here.
player housing systems tied to it. Once a node reaches village stage or higher, player housing then becomes available. There's 3 types of player housing. Real space in node housing.
That looks so
real
good.
Space freeholds, which are basically plots of land within the node's zone of influence.
I wonder how the freeholds will contribute to the actual node itself.
Instance to node apartments. Players who have invested into any of these types of player housing can then register to become citizens of the node, which brings with it various benefits listed.
Citizenship grants a number of benefits: access to limited functions and services buildings within the node, access to merchants that offer types of enhancement stones and stat migrations, access to upper tier crafting benches, access to a weekly allotment of core materials that can only be accessed from the node's reliquary, access to buffs from certain events, access to titles, access to organizations and religions, participation in the node's government's voting of whoever's running the office. Other states' benefits include reputation, honor, loyalty, and merit. There's a lot when it comes to the politics of this game. That's going to be one of the core meta games of this game. It's having a group of people that are dedicated enough to make the server in general progress, right? I think that's what they're trying to do.
Listed on screen. You can only become a citizen of one node at a time per account, so this is an important decision designed to make players want to invest in and defend their node.
Wow.
Nodes are not owned by guilds, and the more people that register for citizenship at a single node, the more expensive it becomes for future citizens to join.
Oh.
You will lose citizenship if your node is destroyed in a node siege. In addition, you will also lose your player housing and a portion of the resources stored in your node's warehouse. So it's really
I don't want to lose
in
my
your best
house.
interest to defend and invest in the node that you're a citizen of.
I don't want to lose my house.
Another completely unique thing Ashes of Creation is bringing to the MMO genre that has never been done before is its season technology. This was recently shown off and working in the dev live stream.
So badass.
Basically, every 1 or 2 weeks, certain biomes will change seasons from spring, summer, autumn, or winter.
I really would like them to make these seasons tied to real life seasons. I know that it's a long time for winter to summer and stuff like that. But I genuinely feel like it will be a lot more interesting if the game, instead of every couple of weeks changes, it will change with the actual seasons in real time. I mean, if you didn't get that, I don't know, ice cat or something, right? Then you'll have to wait till next year. And I believe that will make it will play a good role in the economy of the server if it was that way. Because I know that there's going to be some resources probably tied up to the actual seasons, which, if you don't have enough of them, then you'll have to wait for that season. As long as those resources do not stop progression of the player characters themselves, I don't think it's a huge deal to tie it like that. But it will definitely be one of those things that could be really interesting if it was tied to real life events.
In doing so, the appearance of monsters might change. There will be buffs or debuffs to your
Ooh,
character.
look at those.
Dungeon entrances or mountain passes might become frozen over or inaccessible. Some gatherable resources might become unavailable during certain seasons, which might have an economic impact. And there will also be different weather effects depending on the season.
Yeah.
This, coupled with the ever-changing node system, gives Ashes of Creation the potential to be the MMORPG that has the most interesting, immersive, and and evolving world we've seen out of any MMO to date. You leave the game, log in a few weeks later, the node has changed, the season has changed, new events and quests have spawned. It'll feel like you've zoned into a completely new location.
Adaptive PvE difficulty.
On the PvE
okay, this is it. This is it. Interesting here.
What I find especially interesting with Ashes of Creation is how content such as dungeons and raids will have adaptive difficulty.
Whoa, look at that.
From the performance of the party against previous bosses. So let's say your group absolutely steamrolls the first boss in a dungeon or raid. The next boss will then scale to be more difficult, unlocking additional mechanics and as
look at that. This looks so badass.
In addition, node development also has a big impact on PvE difficulty and content availability too. The higher the node level, the higher the level of mobs in the surrounding area. Perhaps there's a dungeon with 5 bosses inside, however the 4th and 5th boss rooms only become accessible once the node has developed to city or metropolis stage.
Oh, interesting.
Mechanics and higher loot potential could also be locked behind the leveling of nodes. Obviously this will take a lot of balancing, but I like the direction they're going in when it comes to PvE difficulty. If they get it right, dungeons and raids could become infinitely difficult based on performance, which could also open up the potential for competitive PvE leaderboards if there was some kind of performance rating added on top of this system.
That is really, really interesting.
Although Ashes of Creation won't be the first MMO to introduce a caravan system, shout out to Silk Road Online, it's certainly not a common thing we've seen in any of the other top MMOs in recent years. I think the last MMO
Do you have to protect
something like this was Arcade. Storage in Ashes of Creation is not
Whoa!
scalable. Warehouses where you store your items will be local to each node, and gatherable resources for crafting will be more or less plentiful based on biome or region.
Isn't this kind of like New World when it had like the beginning where your storage was limited to that town? If I seem to recall correctly, players did not like that at all. They did not like having to go to a certain town to get their stuff. They wanted to get them right away, and sometimes you couldn't transfer them if your faction didn't control that area. It's interesting that even after that they are still pushing this one up. Yeah, a lot of similar things to a New World. Yeah, exactly. I wonder if they've taken that into account, and I wonder if the community, because I mean I'm imagining the community is giving a lot of feedback on these kind of things, right? But I guess until the game releases, we won't really know how bad or good it would be. Because on the bright side, one thing that I used to do in New World is I would go to Windward, get water from the town, you know, from the actual town, like the bridge inside the town of Windward, and then I will go out and like Brightwood and then just drop the water in the action house, and people will buy it for like 3 gold. You know, it's ridiculous because it's supply and demand. Of course, people want to get the water fast. They don't want to go out and gather it, and you know, they're just gonna buy it on the auction house. So that is a plus of having a system like this. The cons, I think, far outweigh it though, because a lot of players don't have a lot of time, and that's myself included. And if you're telling me that I have to go out and get this thing from my other town, which is gonna take me another 10-15 minutes to get to, then yeah, it's gonna be bad. And lazy people pay. Exactly, lazy people will pay, which is, I guess, that's even in real life it happens, right? Instead of going to Best Buy, I'll just go to Amazon and get it delivered next day. I mean, it's kind of like in real life in a way.
That players will be able to take advantage of localized economies by transporting goods from one region to another based on supply and demand.
People know time to play with the price. Exactly. They will pay so that they can enjoy the game that they want to play.
Citizen of a node located in the desert biome. People need a lot of wood.
That snail looks kind of cool.
It's hard to come by in the desert. You travel to the forest, spend a few hours collecting or buying wood from other players, then you want to transport it back to the desert to sell on for profit or use yourself. You can go to the storage at the forest node and spawn a personal caravan to then transport those goods.
Now, my question is, why go through the risk and spawn a caravan when you can walk them yourselves, right? I mean, I'm imagining the caravan will probably has a lot more capacity than what you can carry in your inventory, but you're taking a risk of other players taking your resources from you. That snail was booking it. The snail, yeah, well, yeah, it wasn't like a snail, right? It was a little faster than that, but yeah, hey, looks kind of cool. The mount designs in this game are pretty cool.
In doing so, the area around the caravan will become a moving open-world PvP zone, in which players can choose to either attack or defend the caravan. There's incentives for either side.
And this is where those massive guilds are gonna thrive, because you're gonna be like, you're gonna have 400 people come together and be like, okay, boys, let's take all this wood to the desert and become millionaires. And, you know, you're gonna have a massive rate of people going, and then everybody else is gonna lag.
This is a risk
Clip me and let me know if that
system in
happens.
which you could potentially lose your stuff if your caravan is successfully raided. The whole existence of the caravan system also opens up the possibility for players to become mercenaries and sell protection services to players wanting to transport their goods for coin, which is also pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Monster coin event. All right.
Are a multiplayer horde defense activity that can take place at nodes. These events must be triggered by something significant happening in the surrounding area, such as node advancement, the death of a world boss, or constructing a certain building in the node. During a monster coin event, players must choose to either attack or defend. Attackers can use monster coins to transform into a monster and attack key objectives in the node, whilst defenders must defend against the attacking horde of monsters.
It's kind of like the
Monster
war
coin
system
events cannot de-level
as well.
the node, however they can kill important NPCs or disable buildings at the node for a while if the attackers are successful. Monster coins can be obtained via rare drops in-game, and the rewards for this activity are entirely cosmetic.
I think that's a pretty cool concept.
The final point I want to make when it comes to what makes Ashes of Creation so unique,
That is
the
an
sheer
evolved
scope of the
snail.
game. When you combine all the features and innovations this game will have, it's surely going to be the biggest fantasy MMO ever made to date. 9 different playable races, both with male and female options, 480 square kilometer world size at launch.
That's a big map. Oh, hold on, let's go back. That's a big map.
You can go from one side of the map to the other, no.
Where's this map?
It's surely going to be the biggest
Hold on, where's this map?
fantasy MMO ever made to date. 9 different playable
Yo,
races,
Exica,
both with
welcome.
male and female options, 480 square kilometer world.
Look at this map. This map is massive. I thought we were gonna work. Headphones, apologies on nuestro. What are you doing today? That mage looks dope. What is that? So this is the game called Ashes of Creation. We're watching TheLazyPeon's latest video on it. So kind of like get a recap and everything we need to know about it. And yeah, so this is one of the upcoming MMOs that I'm interested in. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Oof. Okay. We're gonna be playing Raft in a little bit. I just want to finish this video.
Size at launch, fully open world game where you can go from one side of the map to the other, no loading screens, dungeons, raids, world bosses, open world PvP with a criminal system, caravan PvP, castle sieges, no.
He said criminal system. I'm imagining that's like if you kill a player that is I guess if you kill a player that is, wait, how would that work? If you kill a player that hasn't attacked, like it, so are gonna be like good and bad players? Like, I don't know how that's gonna work. Maybe Raika wouldn't have an idea, like Fly for Fun type things with the karma back in the day. Gotta call, that's fine, man.
Duels,
I appreciate you being here.
Crafting and artisan system, monster coin events, political system, citizenship, player run shops, taverns with parlor games, top tier character customization, transmog cosmetic collection, 64 different.
What? Okay, wait. So can I be ranger? A ranger hunter? Is that gonna be an arrow? Hawkeye. Ranger becomes a Hawkeye. Fighter ranger becomes a hunter. Warden predator rogue. So ranger and rogue becomes a predator. Ooh, I really need to know more about all these classes. So what is the red line means? Is the red like the pure bred of that class? Like if you start with a ranger and then you want to specialize in range damage, then your second class will be the ranger as well, and then you'll become like a super awesome sniper or something like that. But man, this ranger rogue the predator title looks kind of cool. I wonder what that's gonna be.
class combinations, 3 forms of player housing, both open world and instanced, achievements, leaderboards, gathering, questing, hybrid combat system, player-driven economy with localized storage,
Wow, look at that.
pets, massive guild system with guild halls, both land and water mounts, and 18 different biomes in the world. Every week
Crazy.
or two, the season changes, which makes zones feel completely different. And if all of that wasn't enough, something I often forget is that the game will have an entire arcade-style naval system where you can sail across the ocean on massive ships and partake in naval
I didn't know
PvP
that.
and naval trade routes. I've probably forgot to mention a few features in that little ramble, but my point is, this game will be bloody huge.
It's gonna have everything.
So huge that I can totally understand why people have been skeptical about the project since the inception. But at this
It's
point,
really
I've
ambitious.
seen most of these things that I've mentioned at some point in development live streams in recent years, so it's definitely all
Look, Asmongold right there, dude. That is literally Asmongold, dude.
stuff that's being worked on. The only content we haven't seen much of at this point is the naval aspect of the game, although recently we've been shown some 3D models
Man.
of the ships, as well as a giant sea monster boss, so hopefully we'll see more of that soon. At this point you're probably saying, wow Peon, all of that sounds great, but I don't want to wait until 2030 to play this thing. Hasn't the game been in development for years already? Yes, it has, but unfortunately, my MMO hungry friends, this is a genre where games take a long time
Dogecoin.
to make. ESO, Lost Ark and Arcade, for example, all took over 7 years of development until launch.
And funny enough, out of all those games, I don't think any of the, well, I guess Elder Scrolls is kind of alive and kicking, and Lost Ark is obviously still new, but I don't think a lot. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think Arcade, Guild Wars 2, Black Desert Online have a lot of players. Final Fantasy 14 has a lot of players. Yep, it does. Terra, I believe, shut down, right? I think Terra is completely shut down, and then World of Warcraft is World of Warcraft. So
Final Fantasy 14 was in development
that's never
for
going to
9
die.
years before A Realm Reborn released. Right now, Ashes of Creation is about 5.5 years into development, and with it being a particularly ambitious project, I still think we've got a while to wait. That being said, since moving to Unreal Engine 5, their development speed seems to have gone through the roof, with significant progress shown every live stream, so maybe it's closer than...
Maybe this is the game, guys. Maybe this is the game.
I've only explained the unique aspects of Ashes of Creation, the things it's doing to push the genre forward, but the game also has a lot of other features that you're likely familiar with from other MMOs. So next I'm going to break down everything the game has into the following categories: PvE content, PvP content, roleplay content, the world, professions, class and combat system. As this is such a colossal game with so many different aspects to it, it's impossible for me to talk about every feature in depth and answer every question you might have. Thankfully, there's a fantastic resource already available called the Ashes of Creation Wiki that's constantly being updated and has thousands of pages worth of information. Any specific questions you might have, check the wiki and there's a 99% chance you'll get an answer. Shout out to Lex, who's been keeping this up to date over the years.
Wow, that is pretty cool. We need to check out that wiki.
Content in Ashes looks a little bit like this. Content is tailored for group sizes of 40, 16 and 8 player groups. The maximum size of a party is 8 players. Dungeons are designed for these 8 player parties. 20% of dungeon and raid content is instanced, whilst 80% are open world. Raids and dungeons are designed for group sizes of either 16 or 40 players, and raids and dungeons both use the adaptive difficulty system that I spoke about earlier in this video. Ashes of Creation will have many
This is a massive game
designed to be contested by large groups of players and guilds. These world bosses will have a chance to drop legendary equipment and a tiny chance to drop eggs that can hatch into non-permanent limited time flying mounts. Due to how they're designed, world bosses are also likely to attract open world PvP with multiple guilds fighting for the glory of the boss kill and loot. Monster Coin events are another PvEVP event that I spoke about previously.
I am really concerned about the server stabilities. I don't think there has been a single MMO that has been able to do open world raid encounters like this, not lag out other players, right? So they're gonna have to have massive server infrastructure.
These horde defense style events are likely to spawn following the leveling of a node or a world boss being killed. Quests are another form of PvE content, and they come in multiple forms: events, tasks, narrative quests, daily quests, epic and legendary quests, racial quests, class quests, and caravan quests. Jumping puzzles will also be another fun aspect of PvE.
Yeah, there you go, for the explorer.
You'll encounter them whilst questing and exploring dungeons. There was already a few of these present in the game during the Alpha 1 test in 2021.
That's pretty cool. It gives every kind of player their own thing to do.
And yes, there's a lot of it. First, let's discuss the open world PvP flagging system, otherwise referred to as the corruption system.
Okay, here we go.
In most cases, if killed by another player, the only things dropped upon death are gatherable and crafting materials.
Okay.
There's 3 states a player can be in: green, non-combatant.
Okay, so non-combatant attacks a non-combatant player, becomes a combatant player. Non-combatant attacks a combatant player, becomes a combatant player. And then a non-combatant attacks a corrupted player, and it just stays as non-combatant. So yeah, so it's basically gonna work like in the old days, the karma system in some of the other MMOs. Let's see, how do you become a corrupted player? So if a combatant player kills a non-combatant player, then it becomes a corrupted player. That's how you justify, hey, I want to kill that motherfucker because I'm not gonna get punished by it. Then if a combatant player fights another combatant player, it just stays as a combatant player. And same thing goes if he attacks a corrupted player. So overall, corrupted players are the ones that have everything to lose. And you can see in the chart on the right, they always stay as a combatant player. Okay. All right. That's a very interesting system.
Purple, combatant, and red, corrupted. Each player starts out as green unless they attack or fight back with another player, at which point they'll turn purple.
Okay.
Green non-combatant players who don't want to engage in PvP are still incentivized to at least run away or fight back, as being killed as a green player will result in dropping gatherable and crafting mats at twice the rate of if they'd have died whilst purple.
Wait, what? So if you don't PvP, you lose more items than if you partake on the PvP?
AKA fighting back. Purple indicates a state of consensual PvP. You're actually rewarded by dropping...
Yeah, that was my thought exactly. I mean, I don't know. Like, if I don't want a PvP like that, right? I will be perfectly fine PvPing against a corrupted player. And I guess most players are going to be purple, though. I think most players are going to be purple. There's not going to be that many green players. Maybe like RP in RP servers, maybe you'll see a lot of greens, but most players I think are gonna be purple. And then you're gonna have obviously like the hardcore, balls to the wall. I'm PvPer. I don't care if you're green or blue. I'm gonna attack you. I'm gonna attack you on sight. Those are gonna be the red boys.
Dropping less gatherable mats on death if you die in this state. If a purple player kills a green player, then they become red, corrupted. Corrupted players.
Wait, let me go back. Hold on.
Increase the rate of if they'd have died whilst purple, aka fighting back. Purple indicates a state of consensual PvP. You're actually rewarded by dropping less gatherable mats on death if you die in this state. If a purple player kills a green player, then they become red, corrupted. Corrupted players are criminals and will face increasing penalties the more green players they kill, such as dampening and even dropping their gear upon death. If you're a green pure PvE player, you'd have to make someone pretty mad whilst gathering for them to want to turn red on you. If you haven't got any droppable crafting or gathering mats, there's absolutely no benefit for someone to flag and kill you. So don't worry about people standing outside of nodes just spawn killing PvE players. Most of the time it won't be worth it. If that is something you're worried about though, a bounty hunter system will also exist where bounty hunters can hunt down
that guy went
players for
berserk.
Most Node sieges and castle sieges. These are two different things. A node siege is where players band together to destroy a node, resetting its level to allow adjacent nodes to progress to higher stages. The higher the level of the node, the more work is required.
I'm assuming that if you're fighting in one of these wars, in one of these node wars, or maybe even in caravans, I'm assuming you don't get flagged, right? I would think that that's part of the event, so I don't think that would flag you as a player. I would think that's what makes sense to me.
To fulfill the prerequisites to declare the siege. Any player can declare a node siege, and once declared, a countdown begins, giving players anywhere between 2 to 5 days notice, depending on the level of the node, to prepare for the impending battle. Players cannot transport goods from their warehouse during this time, and many services in the node will also be disabled until the outcome of the siege is decided.
Wow.
Castle sieges are massive, large-scale 250 vs 250 player battles for guilds that occur.
There's no way people are not gonna lag on that. Like you're gonna need a beast machine to not lag in a 250 by 250 battle.
Once per month. There will be a total of 5 castles in the world. Castle sieges will have multiple objectives for both attackers and defenders, and might also include raid bosses that attackers can slay for certain buffs. These battles will include siege weapons such as catapults, trebuchets, cannons, and ballistas, and
this looks pretty badass.
Prestige and rewards for guilds that manage to own one of the 5 castles in the world. Guilds can declare war on each other via the guild war system. Once a war has been declared, players in those guilds can kill each other without penalties. Guild wars will have victory and surrender conditions, with guild war objectives spawning during the server's prime time. When it comes to battlegrounds, Ashes of Creation will not have traditional MMORPGs where you can queue and are teleported to an instance.
Oh, you cannot.
However, the game will have a gladiator-style last man standing arena where players can battle to become the mayor of militaristic nodes. Caravan PvP is something I spoke about earlier and will be a big catalyst for PvP in the open world, and the game will have instanced arenas for 1v1, 3v3 and 5v5 player group sizes, as well as the...
I think arenas are gonna be huge. A lot of people that like PvP and stuff like that, they love arenas. That's like the ultimate stat, you know? Alright, let's see. Roleplay content. What do we have for roleplay?
Rejoice, because Ashes of Creation certainly hasn't forgotten about you. In fact, quite the opposite. This could be one of the most RP-friendly MMOs ever made. First off, the game will have 9 different playable races, no gender or race-locked classes, each of which have their own architectural influence on the nodes they contribute the most XP to. You've got the Kalar and Vahlkor humans, the Dunir and Nikua dwarves, the Renkai and Vek orcs, Empyrean and Pyre elves, and the recently revealed Tulnar. Earlier this year, Intrepid
some of these classes look nice.
Top-tier character customization suite, which, although at the time was...
Bro, look at that beard, man. Holy shit.
Their top-tier
look at this beard.
Customization suite, which, although
bro, that looks so cool. you know I'm gonna play a human. I mean, I always play humans, but that beard looks insane, dude.
The time wasn't completely finished.
Just like mine. See?
Was already up there as being one of the most in-depth in the MMO genre, right up there with Black Desert's character creator. But what's a good character creator without a good fashion and transmog system, right? In this game, you'll be able to collect appearances of weapons, armor, and accessories and apply it to what you've currently got equipped.
Wow.
Similar to WoW's transmog system or Guild Wars 2's wardrobe system. You will also be able to dye your gear. Additionally,
hell yeah,
cosmetic packs you've probably...
What is this?
Heard people complaining about in the past will be one-piece outfits similar to how it works in Guild Wars 2. You won't be able to mix and match armor components from these full costumes.
Oh, that's a full... Okay, I see.
The most unique transmog combinations won't be
damn, those
something you
badass.
can buy from the cosmetic shop. We've already touched on player housing earlier in this video, but to reiterate, they come in 3 types. Instance apartments within nodes that anyone can gain access to for citizenship, real space in-node housing that level up with the node, and real space freeholds, which are set-size plots of land located within a node's area of influence.
My main problem with the housing is that I wouldn't want to lose it. Like, imagine putting so much work and effort into your living space, and then your node gets taken over or whatever, and boom, you lose everything. I don't think I would like that.
You'll be able to decorate your player housing with furniture, craft and process materials at your freehold, and obviously throw kinky ERP parties in your house with other players, which, let's be honest, is 90% of the reason why people RP in MMOs.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Situated inside nodes or freeholds, taverns are buildings that act as a social hub for players to relax, roleplay, buy consumables, play music, gain rested XP by renting a room,
and pretty soon they're gonna be places where guilds go and have guild meetings in game.
or partake in parlor games together. It's also possible that proximity voice chat will be enabled inside of taverns.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
This will require some testing. When it comes to emotes, Ashes of Creation will have all the standard animations you'd expect in an MMORPG, as well as consensual multiplayer emotes such as dancing and hugging. Additionally, you'll be able to interact with the environment by leaning on walls, sitting down, vaulting over fences, mantling, and crouching. As previously mentioned, Ashes of Creation will have a political system where players can compete to become the mayor of the node in numerous ways. From this, good mayors and bad mayors will emerge, which in itself is another aspect of roleplay.
Damn, 10% CC tax rate? Holy
marriage,
shit.
including same-sex marriages, will be a thing in Ashes of Creation. Marriage will allow player housing permissions to be shared, and a quest might appear related to a marriage ceremony. This system
Okay, cool.
isn't 100% fleshed out as of making this video, but it will be in the game in one form or another.
Okay.
Next, let's
what else we got?
The world of Ashes of Creation, starting with server size, which Intrepid are aiming to support 8,000 to 10,000 concurrent players online at one time, 5 times the number of players that New World's servers can currently handle.
That is massive, dude. 8,000 to 10,000 players. That is massive. I'm imagining also that at some point, because every MMO has the same kind of like cycle. It starts, it has a peak of millions of players, then it starts dying down, then it gets a little more of a bump because of an update or whatever, and then it starts like leveling out and kind of like staying with their concurrent player base, right? With the occasional spike on expansions and stuff like that, and like seasonal events and stuff. I wonder if after the initial spike, let's say they have, I don't know, like 100 servers, right? And after that initial spike and whatever, I wonder how many servers are going to be actually alive with more than 5,000 people. I'm really curious about that. They're gonna have to be really smart with how they manage their server infrastructure. And I'm imagining that in the beginning they will be renting servers from other providers to be able to accommodate all these players that are gonna be hitting the game right up, find out that the game is not for them, and then move on to the next game. So after that spike, they need to like merge these servers together and see how many of those servers are actually going to be functional and full. Because if not, it will be a massive world with nobody.
When it comes to server locations, the most recent info I could find is that they plan on having servers for the following regions: North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, and Australia. However, other server regions such as South America are under consideration.
Okay.
Stephen, if you're watching this video, please heavily consider adding Southeast Asia servers. So many people here love MMOs, but we have to get wrecked by 150 to 200 ping connecting to Australia.
Oof.
I'm sure the same could be said for South America connecting to NA too. You're making the most highly anticipated MMO globally, and after all these years of development and anticipation, it'd be a big shame if large regions of people couldn't enjoy it to its fullest due to ping and server regions.
Yeah.
As previously mentioned, the world in Ashes will be 480 kilometers squared at launch, which includes land and water, with an additional 100 kilometers squared for the Underrealm. The world will be ever-changing thanks to the node system and seasons, but I've already gone in depth on those systems at the start of this video, so best not to repeat myself further. When it comes to fast travel and flying mounts, the world of Ashes is designed so that distance and scale matters.
Ooh.
Fast travel will be limited to the superpower of a scientific node at Metropolis level, allowing players to teleport to smaller nodes within the Metropolis zone of influence, and a family
Ooh, that is
summon with a long
interesting.
cast time that can be used on up to 8 family members. Flying mounts will be extremely rare and limited in duration, with them being obtained via legendary drop eggs from world bosses, or obtainable to mayors of Metropolis nodes, as well as guild leaders owning one of the 5 castles in-game. Out of 10,000
Wow.
players per server, there's likely to only be between 10 and 15 players who have access to flying mounts at a time.
I don't know how I feel about that, because flying mounts is one of those things that essentially breaks the game, right? I mean, it will be the ultimate flex in this game to have a flying mount. It will be like, you know, you're the most important player, or the best player, one of the best players in the server. But I feel like flying mounts could potentially be a point of conflict for a lot of people, potentially even turn people off the game.
This game isn't designed around flying. If you ever get to experience it, then it's a great achievement, or you've been extremely lucky. For the most part, you'll travel around the world via ground mounts, water mounts, or ships if you wish to traverse the Great Ocean.
Water mounts are cool.
As previously mentioned, Ashes will have a fully explorable ocean similar to Arcade. There will be coastal nodes, harbours, naval caravans, treasure hunting, underwater dungeons.
Where's the breath
naval
meter?
quests, naval PvP, and multiple different ship sizes ranging from small, medium, and large. Similar to Arcade, there will also be giant sea monster world bosses.
Ooh.
Like the Negative, which was
Ooh.
recently teased
The
and should be
Kraken.
present in Alpha 2. Lore and story is definitely something that's present in Ashes of Creation, however it's not one of those MMOs where you're the chosen one, hero of light, center of the universe, god of all things, with NPCs worshipping you upon sight because you followed the same linear story as millions before you. Storytelling will be more based on learning about past events in the lore, self-contained short story quests, and the overarching story of the world's development. This game actually has a ton of lore, with a lot of stuff being kept secret for launch, but you can read
Which is a
more
smart
about
thing to
that
do.
stuff on the wiki, as this video is starting to get pretty long as it is.
That's a smart thing to do. You don't want to tell the players what is everything that's going on inside the world, because you want to create that intrigue, right? You want to make players want to find out what's going on inside this world. After all, a lot of these players want to live in this world in a way. They want to come home after working 10 hours a day, and they just want to like grab a Coke, sit down in the chair, and just chill and kind of like go through the story and become what they wish they could be in real life. That's why you want to keep a lot of these plots hidden from the players, because you want the players to experience them inside the game, not through someone else's.
Artisan class and profession system in Ashes looks something like this. You've got 3 artisan classes,
Okay.
gathering, processing, or crafting, each of which contain various professions. Gathering professions include
Farming, fishing, herbalism, lumberjacking, mining, and taming.
fishing, herbalism, lumberjacking, mining, and taming.
Okay.
Processing professions include
Processing, animal husbandry,
and
smelting. Okay.
And crafting professions include
Alchemy, armor smithing, blacksmithing, caravan building, carpentry, cooking, jewel crafting, scribes, shipbuilding, siege weapons, and weaponsmithing. You know, I never understood why you have armor smithing and weaponsmithing differently. I guess if you're, because blacksmith, I think in what I've seen in other games is that you have a blacksmith and then you specialize, right? I guess New World does it differently too. New World has armor smithing and weaponsmithing. So what would be blacksmithing then? I don't know.
alchemy, armor smithing, blacksmithing, caravan building, carpentry, cooking, jewel crafting, scribes, shipbuilding, siege weapons, and weaponsmithing. A character may only master up to a maximum of 2 professions within one artisan class. So let's say you choose to be a gatherer. You could max out mining and lumberjacking, but you could not max out mining and alchemy. If you're a crafter, you could choose to max out cooking and jewel crafting, but you could not max out cooking and smelting. To get around this limitation, you may use alts or join guilds and work together to fulfill your crafting needs.
Maybe processing ores into bars and armors for armors. Oh, you know what that does? Well, then what would be smelting for then? Didn't they say they have smelting? Hold on. Right here. Yeah, so okay, so I would assume smelting will be processing ore into different kinds of bars of the different metals. I wouldn't know what blacksmith is. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm too close minded for this. Because I definitely, I mean, armor smithing and weapon smithing, you can know what they are because of what they do. But blacksmithing itself, right? What do you think? Blacksmithing will be making tools. Oh, so yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. So like pickaxes and like access to lumberjack, right? To like kill not kill trees, to chop down trees and stuff like that. That could be it. That could be it. What will I want? I don't see any hunting in here. It's wood farming. I'm imagining farming is like crops, right? I wonder if for farming you have to have your own living space, like your house, and have a farming plot in your house to be able to do that profession. Smelting will be making metal into workable metal forms. Animal husbandry. Is animal husbandry like hunting for food? Or and then taming will be what? To make mounts? It seems like they have a lot of things inside the professions. Will be what I would expect, hunting into encompassing hunting. Oh, okay. So if I want to play like a ranger type character, I would want to have some sort of herbalism and then animal husbandry to kind of like make my fantasy role, right? I think it's racing and killing for food. So that's what animal husbandry is. Or is that what taming is? No, I think that's what you're talking. Yeah. Potentially. Okay. I think I understand. Very interesting. Can't wait to see more. And you can only master two of the insane amount of professions they got.
But you could not max out mining and alchemy.
Which is gonna mean that you have to play on a guild. Taming in the terms of make something your friend and lose in a loose form, the same category. Yeah, I can get mining and blacksmithing. But they're in different categories. Mining is on gathering and blacksmithing is on crafting. So you'll have to choose your artisan proficiency, I guess. And then from here you get two. Okay. Honestly, I'm really curious to see how the systems are gonna work in game.
Crafting, but you could not max out cooking and smelting. To get around this limit,
let's hear that again.
Max out mining and a character may only master up to a maximum of.
I thought it said you could only get two of the same group. Okay, so let's see what it says here.
2 professions within one artisan class.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so within one of the artisan classes, you can pick 2 professions.
So let's say you choose to be a gatherer. You could max.
Oh, exactly. So if you want to be a gatherer, then you're locked into 2 of these. You cannot go into processing or crafting.
Max out mining and lumberjacking, but you could.
You see, mining and lumberjacking.
Not max out mining and alchemy.
But you could not max out mining and alchemy because you are a gatherer. Oh shit, dude. 2 gathering professions. I think what he means is if you want to be a gatherer, you're locked into this tree and then you have to choose 2 of these professions. If you want to be a processing, I guess you have these 2. And if you want to be in crafting, then you can only choose 2 of these crafting things. Oh, you said that. Okay, sorry. I misunderstood what you said. So, which is interesting because, for example, let's say that you're going to be a fisherman, right? You're going to be fishing a whole lot, but then you cannot cook your own fish because it's in a different tier or a different proficiency.
If you're a crafter, you could choose to max out cooking and dual crafting, but you could not max out cooking and smelting. To get around this limitation, you may use alts or join guilds and work together to fulfill your crafting needs. The most unique profession in Ashes of Creation has to be animal husbandry.
Yep, you'll have to have people to play with. Yeah.
In which you can breed different animals together to create weird and wonderful hybrid mounts, like this wonderful half griffin, half butterfly, raccoon monstrosity.
I think animal husbandry is gonna make a lot of money because you'll be making mounts for people. All right, classes and combat. Here we go.
Finally, let's discuss what for many
This is what I've been waiting for.
People is the most important thing about Ashes of Creation, the combat and class system. Ashes of Creation will have a hybrid combat system similar to Guild Wars 2. In previous videos, I couldn't really show you what this combat would look like, but recently they've made substantial progress and shown off some basic melee weapon attacks, and boy, does it look a hell of a lot better than the combat the game had in past tests. As this system is in the middle of a full redesign and we haven't even had the chance to see a lot of the redesigned abilities yet, I'm not going to talk too in.
So a tamer will get and capture the creatures, then the animal husbandry will buy them. That makes sense, I think.
Depth on it, but basically when it's done, expect Guild Wars 2 combat, but better. Some abilities need to be targeted, whilst others are AoE telegraph.
Oh, look at that, the daggers, man.
Cone attacks. You'll be able to dodge, blink, and iframe depending on your class. A lot of effort is going into audio-visual feedback, and as you can see by the damage numbers, they're going with something that looks very vanilla WoW, which I personally love. Keep an eye out for more updates on this system over the next few months, but so far the new design direction is
badass.
Very good. When it comes to classes, Ashes of Creation is using a similar system to Arcade, but instead of a possible 220 classes, there's 64 different possible class combos in Ashes.
Okay.
The way this works is you've got 8 primary classes: Bard, Cleric, Fighter, Mage, Ranger, Rogue, Summoner, and Tank. You can then choose a secondary class out of the same 8 options to determine your overall class. If your primary class is Fighter and your second class is also Fighter, you'd be a Weapon Master, for example. Mage primary, Summoner secondary would be Warlock. Summoner primary, Mage secondary would be Spellmancer. You get the idea. When it comes to leveling, the level...
I wonder if, let's say that you choose your main class, right? And then you choose a second class to become something. Let's say that you don't like that. Could you change your second class? I wonder if that will be a possibility, like a respec system. Although they will probably have to limit that, because if not, people will be changing like all the time. And obviously they want you to create alts. So they wouldn't let you, I don't think they will let you freely, well, maybe, I don't know, but I think they should at least let you change your secondary class.
Launch will be level 50, and it's intended to take roughly 45 days of playing 4 to 6 hours per day to reach max level.
Wow.
At each level you'll receive various rewards, from skill points to new quest unlocks and other stuff to make leveling feel rewarding.
All right, here we go.
If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've just been absolutely battered with information, and my brain is starting to shut down from the sheer amount of research and writing that's gone into this video. It's been 5 years since my first Ashes of Creation vid back in 2017, and the footage of the game back then compared to now is completely unrecognizable. Intrepid Studios has grown to a team size of over 150 developers, attracting some of the best MMO talent from North America, and since the upgrade to Unreal Engine 5, they've been absolutely pumping out substantial progress with every dev livestream. Some might say that I shouldn't hype this game so much, and it's still just a pipe dream, but honestly, I think there's nothing wrong with getting excited for a new MMO, especially in a genre that's been so full of disappointment for so many years. The excitement, anticipation, and speculation of a new MMO is almost as fun as playing it at this point, but hey, maybe you could say I'm high on copium.
Oh man, this was a good video.
No,
wait, what?
Sir, there's a massive spike in the copium levels. What do we do?
Yes, I felt it. It's time. Initiate Operation Hopium.
Hopium? What
But that's it for this video, guys. This one took a ton of work
that was
to
funny.
make. So please help me out by leaving a comment, destroying that like button for the algorithm gods. And if you plan on playing Ashes anyway,
there you
signing
go.
up for the game
With
using
creator
my
code, there you
referral
go.
code. Let me know your thoughts on Ashes of Creation in the comments below. And have you changed your mind on the project in recent years as more stuff has been shown? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
TheLazyPeon makes some of the best like MMO related content. I genuinely like these kinds of videos. Let me go ahead and I mean, I know we got 5 people here. Let me go ahead and share this. You probably already follow this guy, but if you don't, do go ahead and throw him a follow. This video is nice. Very awesome video. And I'm gonna like it as well. Where's the like button? Right there. Boom. Yeah, this video was good.